Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Catherine Gallagher. You are joining me on CMG Talk. Let's come back in a couple of minutes. Hello, and thank you for joining me. Today, I would like to talk to you about automatic thinking. You're like, automatic thinking, Catherine? What are you talking about? Well, we all have those automatic thoughts that pop into our head. You know, those thoughts that come into our head that are invariably negative thoughts. It's human to have those thoughts. Would you agree? Why do you think we have those thoughts? Let's stop and think about that for a moment. What purpose could we have for having negative thoughts that pop into our head? Why would this serve us? Why do you think our brain has these thoughts that pop into our head? Exactly so. It's a self-protection. It's a defense mechanism. It protects us. On average, we have about 12,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 12,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts that go through our head. Would you agree? And because we're creatures of habit, as human beings, we tend to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. You get where I'm going with this. We tend to repeat a lot of our thoughts every single day. And we form then behavioural patterns and mind scripts. Those mind scripts. Now that is okay, you're saying. Catherine, that's okay. I'm okay with that. But is it? Is it okay? Well, I guess it depends on what kind of behaviours and mind scripts you're forming. Do you see where I'm going with this? So let's come back in a couple of minutes and let's talk on mind scripts and automatic thinking. Speak to you in a minute. And I'm back. Those healthy thoughts that we have, where we're working on our thoughts, make all the difference. But if we're stuck with our automatic thoughts and we have those negative thoughts that constantly run through our minds, what kind of automatic negative thinking do you think that we can have? Often when clients come to me, they talk about things like, for example, I'll give you an example that happened to me yesterday, and clients will often talk to me about these very things. Where a life event happens, and they'll tell me things. Something happened to me, Catherine. You'll never guess what happened to me. And before I knew it, I had built it up and I'd catastrophized it and I'd got it to a point where it was just the worst thing ever. And then I ended up realizing it wasn't that bad after all. And I went, catastrophizing. Let me tell you something that happened to me. So I was having my dinner yesterday and I was having lasagna, right? So I was having some lasagna yesterday and it was very nice. And as I was eating it, I suddenly heard a crack. Ow! Do you feel my pain? Right? I actually wasn't in pain, right? But I just heard this and I thought, oh, and I'd just been to the dentist the other day and I got a clean bill of health. And I thought, oh, that's not good. Then I realised part of my tooth had broken off. Oh, and I was like, oh, right, what will I do? And I was sitting breathe, taking a breath. Don't catastrophize it, Catherine. I wasn't minimizing it either because I wasn't underestimating and minimizing the this could be bad, right? So I wasn't catastrophizing it. So I thought, I'm not going to catastrophize it, but I'm also not going to minimize it. And I thought, what will I do? And I checked the time, and the surgery, the dentist practice had closed. Now I thought, is it serious enough for me to call out of service? And I thought, is that the best use of their time? And I thought, it probably isn't. Now, bear in mind, I was a nurse, I did trauma nursing, and kind of was able to assess it myself. So I said, no, it's not. So what I did was I decided to go on and research, and I thought, right, okay, and I found out what best to do. And I then called the practice and I left a message and I explained to them what had happened. And they now have called me back. I told them what I did, and they said, well, that was good. I don't know if we'll be able to do much with that, but that was good thinking. And I'm now going to go and they're going to do what they can do. So let's hope that it all works out fine. I'm sure it will do, right? It will be fine, right? But those negative thoughts that we can have where we can panic, we can go and default to worst case scenario in that situation, I'm like, I handled that well, right? But we can also have other types of situations where we do for instance, if you are in a room or you're at work or you're walking along the street and you can have these tendencies to jump to conclusions. Have you ever had that? You know, you're maybe at a meeting and you say something and someone talks over you, or somebody doesn't seem to recognize what you're saying. And you're like, that person's ignored me, or that person's dismissing what I'm saying, or I'm having a conversation and this person's laughing at me, or what's that person looking at? Why did that person look at me that way? And people sometimes say, I feel paranoid. I walk out, I've got low confidence, I don't feel good about myself, I've not been at work, or I've not felt great, I've been feeling quite lonely or isolated, and when I go out, I feel as if everybody's staring at me. I'm in my head. I've got all this negative thought, this negative dialogue, and I don't come back around. So as you're walking along the street and you're automatically assuming, because we are assuming, and we're doing emotional reasoning. We're thinking and assuming that people are automatically thinking these things because it's how we think, it's how we feel, and we're imposing these thoughts, these feelings onto someone else. Now, it's different if somebody comes up to you, and usually if it's a complete stranger, they're not going to come up and say, I wasn't looking at you or thinking those things, but you're looking at me as if I am. Usually that doesn't happen. Right? Or if you're in a meeting at work or you're in a conversation and somebody sees that you're looking at them and they say, why are you looking at me like that? It's as if you're thinking I'm thinking this. Usually that doesn't happen. People don't usually catch on to what's going on in your head because most people don't read minds. I don't know anybody that reads a mind, right? So unless we challenge our own thoughts and feelings, or unless we check it out with someone, I'm just wondering, because I saw you looking my way, I was just wondering, is everything okay? Not like, why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking at me and staring at me at that? Because that's quite confrontational. That usually doesn't get us anywhere positive, right? Now, often people say to me, when I say, if in doubt, check it out, they'll say, oh, I don't want to do that. And I'll say, well, what's the alternative then? Well, alternative surely is to manage our own thoughts and our own feelings. Because the alternative is that we stay in our own head, we catastrophize, we blow it out of proportion, and we automatically are thinking the negative. Where does that get you? Does that get you anywhere good? Probably not. Emotional reasoning. Because I feel it, it must be so. No. Why? Why? Because you feel it must it be so. You're assuming. And making assumptions is never good. You either check it out or you resolve within yourself. And often the best thing to do is not to assume the worst, it's to give people the benefit. And a lot of the time when people are glancing our way, they're actually staring into space past you and they're not thinking about you at all. And usually, if you check and ask somebody, they'll say, "Why would you think I was thinking about you or looking at you? I'm actually deep in my own thoughts." Here's what I think: people are entitled to have their own thoughts, their own personal thoughts, and their own feelings. And us intruding in it by assuming it's about us, actually, it's none of our business what they think and what they feel. Maybe we should leave them to their own thoughts and feelings. And unless they tell me, unless they decide to share with me what their thoughts are, stay clear. That's how I interpret it. If you don't tell me, I don't know. If you have your own personal thoughts and your own feelings, that's your right to do so, and I don't need to know unless you're prepared to tell me. And then it's a different matter. If you decide to tell me, then I can go and do something with it. A very, very wise woman used to say to me, no longer with me, but she used to say to me, "Catherine," because that's my name, "if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all." She was very, very wise and very right, right? You know, and if somebody comes to you or is looking at you and saying or thinking unkind things, why would you want to know anyway? That's on them. Let it go. Maintain your own peace of mind. Stay in your own headspace, but reframe it. Change the script. What do you think? So we do the emotional reasoning. Because I think it, because I feel it, because I feel it, it must be so. We do the all or nothings, right? You know, it's either this or it's not, but we actually don't give any common ground. We don't look and see what it could potentially be. We do mental fillers. We fill in information without actually getting all the facts. We negate any positives and we only actually focus on all negatives. How helpful is that, do you think? That's very common within my practice. I'll have clients that have maybe come to speak to me, and after a session or two sessions, I'll say to them, "So how are things going? How are your progress?" And they'll say to me, "Oh, no." And they'll tell me, you know, "Oh, well, this didn't work or that hasn't happened or I'm still doing this." And I'll say, "So what has worked? What have you managed to do?" Because they'll actually underestimate or undervalue what they've actually been doing, the progress they've actually been making. We get more of what we focus on, people, right? So I'll say to them, "What have you been doing?" And they start saying, "Well, actually, if I think about it, when I look at my journal or when I look at my reflective, diary, I can see that actually I've been doing more than I actually remember. I can see that I actually did this more. I can see that it actually worked. Or I've actually been able to do more than I thought. Why is it that I never recognised that until now?" We get more of what we focus on. What we direct our attention, what we direct our brain to, that's what we get more of. So if we don't focus on the positives, if we don't see what we're doing, if we don't direct ourselves and set goals towards what we're working towards that are going to motivate us and going to recognise our success, recognise the steps we're making to achieve, then we're not going to see it. Because all we're seeing is, it's like you come with a big eraser and you erase out any progress, any positive steps, and all you see is, "But I haven't done, I should have done, I could have done, it's not good enough." That's the scripts you're telling your brain. Now, I talk about the voice that we have, our external voice, and we talk about our internal voice. I talk about the two voices that should be our own best champion. I talk about being our own best champion. When clients talk to me about how they talk to themselves. Their internal voice is usually the harshest critic, the least kind. It's usually the voice that's telling themselves all of these negative things. It's usually the voice that's negating all the positives. It's usually the voice that's telling them that they're not good enough, that they can't do this, or they shouldn't be able to do this, or and it's usually the voice that's constantly judging harshly. And I'll say, and how's that working for you? I usually get, well, it's not. That's why I'm here. Right? Change the script. We know that if we actually write things down, our brain processes things differently. That's why people do journaling. That's why people focus on doing a gratitude journal, where they focus on not just the positives, right? But they also look at the challenges. They look at the things that have given them challenges in their life, the things that they have grown from, the things that they can see where strength has come from. Because often through the worst points in our life, we have learned more and most about ourselves. Through true and real gratitude, real acceptance and appreciation, and real suffering, when we give ourselves compassion through self-compassion, through suffering, and recognizing the suffering we've had, gratitude then allows us to fully appreciate where we've come, what we have, and to focus on that. That's where we build our real strengths. That's where we can actually see past the pain and see more of how to overcome, how to move forward, and how to actually see the strength, the joy, the appreciation, the acceptance. And acceptance for me isn't saying it's okay. Acceptance is saying it is what it is. It has happened. Why would we ever want to negate, erase our journey? Our journey is our unique journey through life. It is the journey that's taken us and got us where we are. We often think we should have it all. People say to me, I can have it all. But in life, life is about choices. And we often have things, but we maybe have things in a different way. We don't necessarily get it in the way we expect it. And life is a way of presenting to us opportunities when we're ready. In the way we're ready, we have to be open to receive, achieve, receive, and appreciate. You need to believe to achieve to receive. I say that a lot to my clients. You need to believe to achieve and fully receive. It's all about how we choose to look at things, our perception. It's all about what we choose to do with our feelings. We know that if we choose to look at things from a gratitude perspective, if we choose to give service to others, acts of service to others, we feel a sense of joy, we feel a sense that lifts us, it releases natural chemicals that make us feel good. We know that if we give back to ourselves in a healthy way, we know that then we're actually giving back to ourselves, boosting our confidence, our self-esteem, and actually improving our resilience. Automatic thoughts are normal. Having negative thoughts is normal. I would never say to anyone, we will erase your negative thoughts. But that's not normal. Right? It's human to have negative thoughts. It's what you do with them that matters. If we're stuck with them, that becomes problematic. We allow ourselves time to heal, to recover, to process. We need to acknowledge our feelings and our emotions. People sometimes say, I don't want to feel stressed, I don't want to feel anxious, I don't want to feel depressed. But having these emotions and feelings and these range of emotions and feelings makes us human, makes us special, makes us who we are. It might not feel good to have these emotions and feelings at times, but it's what we do with them that matters. Learning how to process, acknowledge, being fully mindful and receptive to your feelings, and then knowing how to process and what to do with them, that's what matters. I have a podcast to do with loneliness. Check that out. There are lots of different ways to process your emotions and your feelings. There's lots of help and assistance out there if you need it. No one should ever feel stuck or alone. No one should ever feel in their life that their life is without meaning and purpose. Every life has meaning and purpose and value. It's what you do with your life, it's what you do with your emotions and your feelings, and it's how you change your behaviours, your thoughts and your feelings, so that you're living in a purposeful life where you feel that your life has meaning and purpose for you. Building and surrounding yourself with people that give you a sense of belonging. It doesn't mean to say you don't have time on your own. It doesn't mean to say that you don't enjoy your own company. But you have to like yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to appreciate who you are as a person. Sometimes people make themselves so busy because they just don't really want to spend time with themselves, even though they might be the most amazing, awesome person, but they find it really hard to be still. When you find people that you can be silent with and sit in silence with comfortably, that's when you know you have the right people around you. So think about automatic thoughts, think about your feelings and emotions, and start to believe, to achieve, to receive. Practice, whether you do all sorts of exercise, whether you do yoga, Pilates, mindfulness. Take time to heal, to grow, and look after your well-being. Good sleep is where we heal, recover, recharge, and energize. We need to heal and nourish our body with the right nutrients. We need to make sure that we are giving our body time to process spiritually, whether it's through prayer, whether it's with a God, our God, whether it's with understanding in silence and reflection, journaling. Connections are important. Exercise. Looking after yourself and taking care of yourself and not harming your body or harming your mind. Balance. We're talking about balance. Self-compassion. Compassion for others. Be kind, be caring. Share a smile. Share a kind word. That lifts you too. It's been a joy and a pleasure spending time talking about automatic thoughts and feelings. I would love to hear from you about what you do with your thoughts and feelings and lifting you. And if you feel there's something you would like to talk about, you would like me to talk about, if you want to share some of your thoughts and feelings, drop me a line, a message at stepupcmg@xln.co.uk. I'm Catherine Gallagher. This is CMG Talk. Good to talk, good mental health. Let's talk soon. I'm going to keep my next subject a bit of a surprise. I'm so excited. Thanks for your time. I'm enjoying talking and I'm glad you are loving hearing what I'm doing too. All the best. Take care. Bye for now.